Welcome. Today, we're doing a deep dive into Surah Al-Bayyinah, the clear proof, guided by the incredibly detailed commentary of Ayatollah Javadi Amoli. We're going to break down why this really short chapter packs such a powerful punch and what its message tells us about the very essence of faith.
So here's our game plan. We'll start by looking at the world before this clear proof showed up. Then we'll define what that proof actually is. After that, we're going to tackle the fascinating paradox of why something so clear actually caused division. Then we'll unpack the pillars of true religion, compare sincerity with its total opposite, polytheism, and wrap up by looking at the divine command and where it all leads. So let's get started. What was the world like for the people of the book and the polytheists before the Prophet Muhammad arrived?
Okay, this first section is absolutely crucial. You have to understand the context. It paints a picture of a world that's spiritually stuck, just waiting for something, some clear sign from God, to finally break the impasse. So the surah kicks off with this incredibly potent statement. It immediately identifies two major groups: the people of the scripture, so, Jews and Christians, and the mushrikeen, the polytheists of Arabia. And the verse sets the stage by describing their shared condition before Islam came onto the scene. Now, the key phrase here is munfakin, which gets translated as "we're not to be parted." Ayatollah Amoli's commentary really dives into this. It's not just that they kind of believed something else, it's that they were deeply, stubbornly entrenched. It's like they were fused to their misguidance, completely inseparable from it. And what's wild is that even though these two groups were so different, they were united in the state of deviation. They were all basically stuck in a rut, waiting for that prophesied game changer, the Bayyinah, to come and shake everything up. So this obviously leads us to the million-dollar question, right? What in the world is this clear proof? What is this Bayyinah? What could possibly be so powerful that it could shatter a spiritual status quo that had been locked in for centuries? And what's amazing is that the Qur'an immediately gives us the answer. And it's not some abstract concept or a single event. The Bayyinah is actually a multi-layered proof with these distinct parts that are all perfectly connected to each other. First and foremost, according to the commentary, the Bayyinah is the messenger himself. The proof wasn't just a book that fell out of the sky. No, it was a living, breathing person. His character, his integrity, his entire life was, in itself, an undeniable argument for the truth he was bringing. And then, building on the prophet as the living proof, you have the message he delivered. This message is described in two really critical ways. First, it comes in purified scriptures. Suhufun mutaharatan. Now, purified here means it's completely free from human error, from falsehood, from any kind of internal contradiction. It's pure. And second, within those scriptures are upright writings, kutubun qayyimatun. This means the content itself, the laws, the beliefs, the morals, are firm, just, and eternally valid. They aren't some temporary fix. They're the stable, unshakable foundation for life. When you look at the source text, you can actually see how the commentary systematically breaks these verses down, almost word by word, to build this really comprehensive picture. It just grounds the whole analysis, showing you the clear logic. The proof is a perfect messenger delivering a perfect message. It's a 1-2 punch. Okay, so this brings us to a really critical and frankly kind of a counterintuitive point that the surah raises. I mean, if the proof, the Bayyinah, was so perfect, so clear, so self-evident, shouldn't it have just brought everyone together in unity? Well, the Qur'an says the exact opposite happened. It led to division. And that's the paradox we're going to dig into now. This verse is just staggering. It pinpoints the exact moment the split happened. It wasn't during a time of ignorance or confusion, when you might expect people to disagree. Nope. The schism happened precisely after the clear evidence had been delivered. This completely shifts the focus from any supposed flaw in the message to the people who received it. So, what gives? How does the commentary explain this? It dives right into this massive theological question, exploring the psychology and the inner motivations behind this seemingly irrational human response to plain-as-day truth. The commentary's explanation is just profound. The division wasn't because the proof was weak, it was because of what was in people's hearts. The analysis points to this Arabic word baji, which is loaded with meaning. It's about envy, pride, rebellion, a stubborn desire to hold on to power and status. They knew it was the truth, but they rejected it anyway because of their own baggage. So in a way, the Bayyinah acted like a divine filter. It smashed their false unity, which was built on shared error, and it forced everyone to make a choice: humbly accept the truth or arrogantly reject it. God shows the way, but he never forces you to walk it. So after laying out this whole drama of proof and rejection, the surah shifts gears. It basically says, okay, let's cut through all the noise. What was the actual religion being commanded all along? And it reveals the simple, beautiful, timeless core of faith that has never, ever changed. This verse right here, this is the absolute pivot point of the entire surah. The commentary really hammers this home. This isn't some brand new religion being invented. This is presented as the universal command given to all people, through all prophets, for all time. The core message has always been this simple and this deep. And the verse ends with this powerful phrase, and that is the right religion, Din al-Qayyamah. The commentary explains that Qayyamah comes from a root that means to stand firm, to be straight, correct, and enduring. So this isn't just a right religion you can choose from a menu. This is the firm, eternally straight path of faith. So the commentary lays out these 3 commands as the essential, practical pillars that hold up this right religion. And you have to notice the order. It's so logical. It begins with the internal state, your sincere intention. And then it moves to the 2 most fundamental outer actions that prove it: your connection to God through prayer and your connection to humanity through charity. It's really a holistic system. The absolute bedrock is ikhlas, sincerity, directing every act of worship to God and God alone. This is paired with being hunafa, which means you actively turn your back on all the crooked, false paths and set your inner compass directly towards the one true God. And once that internal GPS is locked in, it has to show up in your actions. That's where salat and zakat come in. Salat is your vertical connection with the divine, and zakat is your horizontal connection, your duty to society. Now, we keep coming back to this idea of sincerity, or ikhlas. It is so foundational that the commentary dedicates a ton of analysis to it. It's not just a nice-to-have virtue. It's the absolute precondition for any good deed to even count. And the easiest way to get what it is to see what it's not: shirk, or polytheism. The contrast couldn't be more extreme. Ikhlas is all about purifying your why you're doing what you're doing. If the answer is 100% for God, you're good. Shirk is when you contaminate that intention. It can be something really obvious, like worshiping an idol, or it can be super subtle, like praying just so people will think you're pious. The commentary is crystal clear. Even a tiny drop of shirk in your intention ruins the entire act. And again, when you look at the source text, you see this isn't just some dictionary definition. The commentary goes deep, exploring the different levels and subtleties, explaining how ikhlas is the engine that drives the whole system. Without it, the whole thing just grinds to a halt. And finally, after establishing the proof and the command, the surah brings it all home. It lays out the ultimate, inescapable consequences of the choice. So what happens to those who accept, and what happens to those who reject? The end of the surah pulls no punches. It draws a very sharp, very unambiguous line in the sand. Those who got the clear proof, the Bayyinah, and still chose to turn their backs on it are given this heavy title, Sharrul Bariyah, the worst of all creation, and their fate is eternal hellfire. But on the flip side, those who responded to that proof with true faith and backed it up with good deeds are called Khairul Bariyah, the best of all creation, and their reward is eternal paradise. The commentary emphasizes this isn't about your family name or the group you were born into. It's about your conscious, personal response to truth. But the commentary urges us to look even deeper than the beautiful imagery of gardens and rivers. The real prize, the absolute pinnacle of success, is captured in that phrase, Allah being pleased with them and they with him. Just think about that. A state of perfect harmony and mutual satisfaction between the creation and the Creator. And what's the master key to unlock that state? The verse tells us, that is for whoever has feared his Lord. And this fear, khasha, isn't about being terrified. It's a profound sense of awe and reverence and consciousness of God that inspires you to live a sincere life. So after going through all this, what's the central thread? What's the one big idea we should walk away with? The commentary constantly brings us back to this powerful point. True faith is not about your inherited identity. It doesn't matter if you're a Jew, a Christian, or a member of any other group. It's not about just going through the motions. It is all about a clear-hearted, sincere, and humble response to the undeniable truth when it's presented to you.
This is the core message that Ayatollah Amoli's commentary pulls out. The entire structure of religion, the prophets, the books, the laws, it all revolves around this one single point, the purification of your intention, sincerity. Without it, knowledge just leads to arrogance, and all your actions become hollow performances.
And so we'll end with this thought to reflect on. The timeless message of this surah, brought to life by the commentary, really challenges us to look past our labels. It forces us into that deep, personal, and constant struggle for sincerity. It asks us, every day, to question the why behind what we do, to make sure our response to truth is pure, not just in what we say we believe, but in every single thing we do.